presented by Dano's Seasoning. Yum Yum Getches.
What's going on, everybody? I am one of two hosts here for the Sunbelt Syndicate, Dominick Rousseau, here with my co-host, TJ Corman, and we've got a little Dano's Seasoning. I realize it's a little far away, so I'll grab it down and tell you that I tried the spicy one. Is that the one I have? Yes, I did grab the correct one. There is 3 different kinds. I grabbed the spicy one the other day. I put it on a wrap with some turkey, some pepper jack, some provolone, a little bit of ranch dressing. Got to have the
Of
ranch,
course.
right? We're in the South, TJ, right? We got to have the ranch.
Absolutely.
I put heavy dose of the spicy. I won't lie to you. I put a heavy dose, and I was not disappointed. It's got the kick without being like too much, right? Wasn't burning my mouth, but it was a spice that went perfect with the turkey and the ranch and the cheese. So check this out again. Promo code below, Doggos, DAWGGOS. You could enter that at danos.com on your order of some Dano's seasoning. Highly recommend now that I've tried it. And hey, goes to supporting us dogs out here as we try and provide you with some good quality football coverage. Speaking of football coverage, we are coming to you as part of the Dogs Media Network. Got a lot of shows almost every day of the week, I think we have covered now. So be sure to check out our other offerings as well. TJ and I will focus on some Sunbelt stuff, and then we'll get into some fun stuff at the end as well. TJ, tell the fine people what you were making tonight as you obviously do your own little grilling on the side with thick thighs and large fries. I love the name.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you showed me this thing. I don't know if it's still sitting there. You could show it again, but this sounded fantastic.
Well, it's a little bit nibbled on now, so maybe let's not do that. Maybe let's not do it now. But no, I made some, some air fried salmon, and then this real cool recipe I found from a guy that I follow on LinkedIn, or excuse me, on TikTok. And it was a honey butter Cajun corn on the cob in the air fryer. So cool little recipe. Lots of honey, lots of butter, some Old Bay, some ranch seasoning. It was absolutely delicious. I'll post the directions on my website here in just a little while, and on my Instagram as well. But you guys certainly need to check it out. Easy 15, 20-minute recipe, 15, 20-minute idea. If you're looking for something, a nice side to go with, some grilled meats, or really any side. Nice to go with, any food that you've got going on. So super easy, super quick, and something the whole family will enjoy. So.
Absolutely. Well, it sounded delicious. I'm now hungry. All I had for dinner was a bowl of cereal. So that sounds way better. My stuff during the week is tame compared to what you get into. So I wanted you to share that with
well, I also work from home 3 days a week, so I have time. So
true. Well, that's a nice thing to have. So TJ, we will start as we traditionally do with our clip breakdown. Well, your clip breakdown. I'm not really a part of this.
It's us. Hey, we're a team, man. We're a team.
I'll intro it for you. How about that? So the first clip comes from Wake Forest versus ODU. As we both spoke of last week, we thought this might not be much of a game. With what we thought about ODU. Actually, no, I think we rectified that. Did we not correct ourselves a little bit after that Louisiana game?
We did. We thought ODU played really well against Louisiana. And I wasn't sure about Wake Forest. I know, Sam Hartman had transferred out, so I wasn't sure how well they do. So I was kind of on the fence about whether or not we should even be excited about this game, but it turns out we very much should have been. It came down to the wire. Was so disappointed in ODU for letting it slip away. But it was a really great game, and ODU jumped out to a huge lead in that first half. But unfortunately, offense couldn't get anything going in the second half, and really gave Wake Forest a chance to come back. So, but great game.
Yeah, it was fun to watch back. I think we were talking about, you got to see a little bit of it live. I was at tailgating or at the game where I didn't get to see it until I got home the next day. But it was fun to watch. It was disappointing, obviously, in that second half, but you're right.
Sure.
So this one specifically, here's in the first quarter. It's a third down play. I think I have this on full screen. Yes. So we'll watch this once in full speed, and then we'll slow it down, and I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, great play. So, I mean, they've got a lot of guys up at the line of scrimmage. They're going to run a TE, a tackle in stunt on that left side, and it really throws off the timing of that quarterback. I don't think the offensive lineman really saw the stunt coming right away, and it caused them confusion. And they were able to get a hand on the ball, get a hand on the quarterback as he was letting it go, and it was just great pressure, great call up front, especially for a third down with that kind of down and distance. I mean, it should have been could have been a hold or a tripping on 72 because he just completely gets mauled over. But regardless of that, coverage was tight all the way around. I mean, he wouldn't have had a window to throw that into. So it really honestly was. I mean, they were in cover 2-man. ODU was. Everybody looked like they were locked up. Safeties were over the top for any help. It really was not a window to throw this ball in. I mean, you'll see, which I think is a great call for third and medium, because you've got press coverage right at the line of scrimmage. So you're not giving any free releases or any free inside, any work to those receivers. But then you've also got help deep if you get beat. So it's a really great call by the defensive coordinator, but it also helps to have some dogs up front to be able to get to that quarterback. So really good play by their defensive line.
Absolutely. Great breakdown there. We'll jump into the next one, which comes from what we thought was going to be the best game going into the weekend. And as far as the score goes, it lived up to expectation. It was a close one.
Sure.
I don't know if it was quite the score fest some might have thought. Well, it wasn't going to be a score fest. That's a terrible, terrible way to describe what we thought this game was going to be. But I think we were both.
Well, we didn't think 16-14. That's for sure.
Correct. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, we probably thought both teams might be up in the 20s with some good powered offenses. So this one specifically has Troy on a 3rd and 8 just inside the red zone here. We'll again play this in full speed to start with. Was a 5 wide set here?
Yeah, and JMU's doing too much at the snap of the ball. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, it's 3rd and 8. It's sometimes, you can get too cute. You've got linebackers walked up in the A gap. The outside linebacker here, he never reroutes the slot receiver to the bottom of the screen, never gets a hand on him. And it's just the plays. I mean, it's a blown. I don't know that it's so much a blown coverage as just they just got beat. It just wasn't a good call versus 5 wide. I don't know who you think you're fooling when you've got 6 people at the line of scrimmage. I mean, I mean, I don't know what you're doing. So not a good play call. Trying to get cute down in the goal line or down in the red zone defensively, and nobody, like I said, nobody gets a hand on. And also, too, we talked about this before we went on air. Yeah. That top side slot guy, he actually makes this thing go. He's holding that safety's eyes are with that number 3 receiver to the bottom or top of the screen, and that causes 7 to be wide open at the bottom of the screen. So it just great call by Troy, but terrible, terrible defense. I mean, it's just awful. Again, trying to be cute. I mean, why are you running a double A gap or looking like you're going to run a double A gap blitz on 3rd and 8 in the red zone when you're against 5 wide? That just makes no sense at all.
Let me ask you a question. If they had 4 wide and 1 running back beside the quarterback, I know we didn't talk about this beforehand, so I'm just throwing this right at you, but does that change your thought process on what this defensive look was? Like, could they have been keen on a possible run to set up the possibility that they're going to go for it on 4th down thereafter if they got it within 4th and manageable, 4th and 1, 4th and 2 type of scenario, maybe? Or I know that's not what happened.
No. Right. Well, I say no. I would, because even if you're going 4 wide and you've got 4 verticals called with 4 wide, your 2 slot guys are always going to be your read. And that safety, that middle of the field safety in cover 3 is always going to be the read for the quarterback. If he's a good quarterback, he's almost never going to be wrong on this play. I scored most of my touchdowns in college off of this play because it's impossible to get it wrong if you've got a competent quarterback. And in this scenario, again, like I said, there's no running back in the backfield. But even if there was a running back in the backfield against this coverage, if those 2 outside linebackers, maybe I think there may be 2. One's an outside linebacker, one's a nickel. If they don't reroute those slot guys, you're basically just giving up a touchdown because there's no way that safety can't make the right decision. If the quarterback looks him off right, he's going to go left. And so one of the slot guys are going to be open no matter what against cover 3. 4 verticals against cover 3 is almost 100% of the time going to work if executed properly, especially against this, because there is nobody that gets any contact on any receiver and reroutes anybody on these after the line of scrimmage. So it's free releases against cover 3. It's basically 2-on-1. You're playing 7-on-7. I mean, it's impossible. I know I said a lot of words right there, but easy touchdown.
Some of them. I understood some of them.
Long story short is it translates to an easy 6 for
there you go.
Troy.
It's exactly what it did. Now, unfortunately for them, that was a little bit earlier in the game. They didn't score much after that, but you know, they kept JMU in check for the most part, and we'll jump into this.
They both kept each other in check for the most part.
I mean, they did, yeah.
You know, 16-14 game. That's. I mean, if you're a defensive guy, I'm not, but if you're a defensive guy, that's the kind of game you're looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so this one comes from Louisiana and UAB. I think a game that we both thought probably would have been closer. I think we both picked the Cajuns, though, did we not?
Yeah, we both picked the Cajuns. I didn't think UAB had enough, especially defensively. Louisiana's firepower is too much. They've got a quarterback who's very mobile. Running back is great, and you'll actually see during this play the influence of that running game. As you roll the clip, the influence of that run game is what causes this play to be wide open. You're going to get hard run action to the left, and that backside receiver on that crosser route is almost open immediately because of the hard play action. And this tells me, and I didn't get a chance to look at this game, but this is midway through the third quarter. What the action of those linebackers tell me is that they fear that run, which means Louisiana has been killing them with the run the entire first half and into that third quarter. Enough that they react, not just a step. I mean, if you run this play again, look at those linebackers. Their first few steps, I mean, they're going hard, to that. And I mean, there's just it's easy vacancy across the field. So, if you look at those two linebackers right here, I mean, hard reaction up front. And, and we talked about this too, ball placement. If that quarterback puts that on his upfield shoulder, he's still running. He hits his head on the goalpost. So, great call. Like I said, shout out to Louisiana's run game, because that run game, you can tell how much it influenced that play action pass, because those linebackers were nowhere near being able to make a play for that, on that pass play. So excellent call, excellent execution, great play fake. Just could have been a little bit better throw.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking that same thing mainly when I'm watching is like just over the shoulder, man. And like you said before, he would have been gone all the way to the end zone. If I'm the receiver,
I'm like, man, great throw, great call. I appreciate all of that. But just put that thing on my upfield shoulder, man. Let me run under it and let's go get 6.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into, let's see if I want to pull up how this scoreboard is. All right, well, we got East Carolina versus App State. We'll talk about that one first. Let's see, the final score in that one off the top of my head, I didn't remember, 43-20.
Yeah, 43.
So I know you caught that one. If you want to start off talking about what you saw there that you liked, didn't like, or just overall what you thought about that game.
Yeah, we let some big plays get away from us on defense. That seems to be the theme for us this year so far. I know we're only 3 games into the season, but we're letting some big plays get away from, especially in the run game, missing a lot of tackles up front. The game was a lot closer than the score dictates, or the score will tell you. We had a great third quarter, but overall, and also shout out to Noel. I mean, 193 rushing yards is insane. I think he broke his previous record. You got some sound over here. He broke his record of 171 initially, which was his, I think, personal record, and then he went and, just went nuts against ECU. So shout out to him. Really, really great game. Aguilar had a great game. Had a couple mishaps, but overall, like I said, defensively is where we really need to start putting our foot on people's necks and taking some things away. Let some big plays happen for us in the passing game, and also, like I said, in the run game, they were able to get some things going. ECU was, but overall, a win is a win. Like I said here, I mean, just missed tackle. You got to be able to come up and make that tackle. We got to be able to depend on you in that situation. So, but like I said, lots of things to be proud of in this regard. I mean, look at this. This is insane. Look at Noel.
Yeah.
I mean,
Second
get
play of the
City
game,
edge.
by
That
the way.
outside.
Second play of the game.
Yeah. Well, and two, the thing with App State is every single team we know that we play against, they know we're going to run that outside zone. They know it's coming. They know it's coming, and there's absolutely nothing they can do about it because there's so many lanes to cut back, and that's why I love the zone read play so much. And we ran it. Kevin Richardson was great. He's had set some school records. Devin Moore came after him and was really good. We had Devin Radford, a bunch of different guys that played running back for us, and that zone read is the best play as far as running the ball in college football, really in any level of football, because you're giving the option at this point you're giving the option to the running back. Pick a hole wherever you see daylight, go play football. And you don't, you make it easy. Again, silly mistakes. That ball should have never been thrown.
Yeah.
Throw that thing away. Don't try to force it. But he's a young guy, right? He'll grow. It's growing pains. And again, I like what I see from him so far. But it's those kinds of things that'll get you beat against a really good team. So we got to clean that stuff up. But like I said, win is a win.
Yeah, and this is a little bit of a last minute change here for ECU. This is not the quarterback that had played the vast majority of their snaps throughout the season so far, and I think this guy's certainly a little bit better of a thrower than the other option that they had. So that was a little bit of a wrinkle that maybe I'm sure App was essentially prepared for, but maybe just didn't expect him to be so accurate or successful. So it was a little bit of a surprise once the defense did make adjustments. I was talking to someone in the first half and saying, defense isn't bleeding here, but it's not as good as we would think or hope. And they definitely made some adjustments and tightened things up and got better as the game went on. And obviously with the score the way it was, that was pretty evident. Speaking of a game, let me see if I can get this one down here. There we go. I'm going to switch to a different tab here as we talk about Georgia Southern.
Yeah. Wisconsin actually put up a pretty decent fight.
Yeah, they did. Absolutely did. Honestly, let's see. I'll start off talking about this one because it was a pretty good defensive battle early. Scoreless in the first quarter. 2 quick scores by each team in the second quarter, and then still tied at the half, 7-7. So very winnable game for both teams at that point. Georgia Southern would actually go up 14-7, but after that, Wisconsin had 28 consecutive points, caused partly in the 6 turnovers that Georgia Southern ended up having. You can't win a game when you have the ball.
I was going to say that'll
times.
do it.
Yeah. Brent didn't have his best game, and a team like this, when you're on the road at a Big Ten opponent, you got to have one of your better games. Had some great plays. I'm not saying that. You just see one there to Burgess, who's one of the best receivers in the conference. But very tough to win a game when you turn the ball over 6 times. And Brent, I think, had 3 or 4 of those all by himself there. So definitely something they need to clean up a little bit. I was really impressed with this kid here. I'm going blank on his name. Hopefully they zoom in there. There he goes. Okay, Arnold. Yeah, very impressed with that kid. Big kid, solid back right there. He looks like he's going to throw the ball for a touchdown. Instead,
I thought he
was into the end zone. Yeah, absolutely. Did you get a chance to see some of this? I know it's a Big Ten network. Not sure if you get that, but
I do get it. I wasn't. Yeah, I do get it. I wasn't watching. I was keeping up with the scores and I was watching, highlights and stuff like that. I did see the 6 turnovers. It's a killer because, if you're Georgia Southern, you can win this game. This was a very winnable game for you. Any way you look at it, it was winnable. And to really, shoot yourself in the foot, not one or, once or twice, but 6 times and still, only come away, down 14-35, this game, they should have scored 50 on them with 6 turnovers, Georgia Southern had every chance in the book to win this game. And they just, for lack of better terms, just threw it away. Yeah. No pun intended.
Yeah, they literally threw it away a few times, I think.
Right.
So next game we'll talk about here was the one we did a little clip on already, but this Wake Forest versus ODU game, again, we did speak on this a little bit, but This one, 17-0 at the half. Could have been 20-0 if the kicker makes the kick. He actually missed
He
two
makes
field
his field goal.
goals
Yeah.
on the day.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So think about how close of a game that is there if he makes both of those. Harvey had a great first half. Wilson's deep ball was working, and then it kind of just didn't work in the second half. I don't know if that was so much play calling or.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it was just, you get caught up. You jump out to an early lead, 17-0 at halftime, right? And you go in the locker room, and there's one or two things that happen. And from experience, we had experienced seniors on our team, and I'm reverting back to my App State days, going down and playing Michigan. You jump out on a team like that you shouldn't be winning or shouldn't be beating. And there's two things that happen. First thing is you go in and you start feeling yourself. And it's these guys can't play with us. We're giving them everything they want. They're not, they're not prepared for us. And then you go in and you kind of lax at halftime. You don't make any adjustments, which it looks like ODU did not do. And then, right. that other school of thought is too, just the opposite of that is these guys are going to give us their best shot. We played at Michigan. We knew that first 8 minutes of that third quarter, we're going to get everything they had. They were going to empty the kitchen sink on us, and we were able to withstand it. ODU was not. Wake Forest came back, like I said, 13 points immediately in the third quarter, and then fourth quarter just really put it away. So I think, ODU scores nothing in the fourth quarter at all, and still only loses by 3 points. It's a heartbreaker, man. It's a heartbreaker.
It really is. Shout out to Logan Willis says, "What's up, fellas?" TJ, I know you don't know Logan personally. I don't know him greatly, but he does attend the University of North Carolina, so he's just down the road here and provides some coverage for both them and Virginia Tech. Actually, I think he went to a Virginia Tech game recently as well. And then we've got Hunter chiming in. National champ talk. 3-time national champ. Put some respect on that name, man. Come on.
Put some respect on me, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. You got comments, you got questions, go ahead and share them with us. We'll try and put them up here, share those along with you guys. We'll jump into the next game we'll talk about here, which will be Tulane versus Southern Miss. A little bit of a rematch from last year. Look, Tulane scores on the opening possession, but they slowed up after that. The Tulane front four, we've talked about this before, TJ. They were dominant
just
once
nasty.
again.
Southern Miss nasty.
And Southern Miss, honestly, on the opposite side of the ball, not disappointing in that. I mean, Tulane scores a lot of points, and they only scored 21 in this one. So if you keep Tulane to 21 points, you should have a chance to win. It was the offense that just couldn't keep up. There was a few missed tackles in the secondary by the Golden Eagles, but up front, no disappointment there on the front end of the defense. Again, just offensively, couldn't really get anything going. The front for the offense really just could not keep up with the front four defensively of Tulane, and that's not much of a shock, I guess. But I don't know. Did anything shock you in this one, or is this kind of where you expected this one to go?
I don't want to say shocked. I'm more disappointed in the output, and you touched on it, from Southern Miss's offense. When you play a game as well as Southern Miss did on defense, you expect your offense to at least come out and put up some points, and they did nothing of the sort. They looked abysmal pretty much all four quarters. Prime example here. Where's he throwing that ball? That's double coverage. There's no reason to throw that ball in that situation at all. Throw it away, live to play another down. That could have been way worse than it actually was. And like I said, in this situation, obviously, Tulane, inside slant, he's got inside leverage. That's going to happen. But 21 points you give up, you expect your offense to at least, meet you halfway. And they did not.
Nope, certainly did not. That would do it for that one. So we will jump over to Georgia State in
Another
Charlotte.
quick thing, though, I don't like that blue Tulane has. What are you doing? What is Tulane doing with that blue? I don't like it, man. You're the green wave. Be green. Like what? That blue it just throws me off. I don't. Just throwing that out there. Do something about that.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. What'd you think of Southern Miss's uniforms? Apparently, a lot of people don't like the white helmets that they were using there.
I like it. I thought it was a good look. That yellow and white. It's I know they're used to the black and yellow
Hmm.
helmets tradition and that kind of thing. But listen, man, times change, people change, and it's not their forever helmet. But let them rock it out. I thought it was a good look.
Yeah, yeah, they've had fun with it. I think it looks sharp to me personally. But
Yeah,
this one, I'll
absolutely.
be honest, I don't know that much about this game specifically. It looks like Darren Granger went off 466 yards, 3 total touchdowns. Just in case, I just covered this on the national podcast last night. We've got like 4 Sunbelt running backs in the top 5 or 6 of Division I college football. That's not Sunbelt rankings. That's not G5 rankings. That's throughout the entirety of college football. Nate Noel is number 2 in the country, only behind Estime of Notre Dame, who might be the best running back in the country. And then
Yeah.
we've got Kamani Vidal from Troy. We'll cover this
Hmm.
in a second, but Troy went for negative 12 yards against James Madison. He's still number 4 on the list, so that's an impressive feat. And
Yep.
then we've got Carroll from Georgia State, who was in this game, who's up there tied
Yeah.
with Vidal. And then we actually can't really make a claim to this, but Amani Bailey, who's now at TCU, came from the Ragin' Cajuns. So if you include current and former Sunbelt running backs, we've got quite a few guys right up there in the top 5 or 6 in the country right now with how they're doing
Yeah.
on the field. And we saw Carroll in this game here for Georgia State. Although, honestly, Jones outrushed him. He was the quarterback for Charlotte. Kind of
Right.
surprising. He goes for 80 yards and a touchdown. But yeah, looks like Georgia State jumped out to a 16-0 lead and the 17-0 lead in this one before Charlotte
Yeah. And
started to
then
make
they
a little bit of a comeback, huh?
Yeah, they didn't. Georgia State jumped out on them and didn't look back. To be quite honest, happy for Georgia State, happy for Coach Elliott. They just look good all the way around. Freaking Granger, man, 466 and 3 tuds. That's insane. I mean,
Yeah.
he was all over the field. He was tossing the ball all over the field. Everybody was. I mean, what is happening right here? I mean, I don't even understand how he gets that wide open. He's just look. I mean, Nine's pissed off. I would be too. I mean, he's
Yeah.
just running behind. I mean, he doesn't get more wide open than that. So I think Georgia State really played, and we talked about this too. I think actually in our first show. I don't know how Charlotte is not good. I don't
Right.
understand that. Living where you live, and I mean, there's so many schools in that Charlotte area that they have the option to recruit from. And again, I get it. People want to go to the bigger schools, and that happens. But there's enough talent there to go around that they should not be getting beat like a drum at home.
No, not at all. But you know what's funny is Georgia State probably felt right at home because there was nobody at this game in Charlotte, just like there's not that many people at the games at Georgia State. So
Right?
it was like home field advantage.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a bad attempt at
Home
a
field.
joke at the Georgia State fans. Sorry for saying that. But honestly, this team looks like they could be one of the most impressive versions that they've had. So please go out and support the Panthers. They deserve it. There's only one
Yes.
way to get everybody to feel like it's a party atmosphere is to start creating that on your own. I know that there are some people that are trying to make it that way down there in Atlanta. It is tough. You've got a lot of UGA and Georgia Tech fans, but there's only
Right.
one way to do it. It's just keep going, keep supporting. It's kind of what App State did long ago. I mean, that App State wasn't always 3-time national champs and beating Michigans of the world, right?
Right. We had to build this
It
thing from the
started
ground
slow.
up, and we had to get the fan base to come. And they say, if you build a good program, people will come. And Georgia State's off to a 2-0 start, or I'm sorry, 3-0 start now.
Yep.
And you guys have got to start coming out, participating, showing some love, giving this group. I mean, I know Coach Elliott will appreciate it. Look at him. There's my guy. He's crazy, man. He's
Yeah.
got a problem. he's got issues, but I love him to death. And those guys deserve your support. So if you're Georgia State and you're watching, go out there and give them some love, man. They deserve it. 3-0 is huge, no matter what how many games you're in. So
Yeah, absolutely. And then in one of the bigger surprises, not the fact that South Alabama won, I would say, but
right,
the
it's how they won.
scoreline. Yeah. And
Yes,
I don't know how much of this one you got to see. I went back and watched this whole friggin' game because it was that
yeah,
good. It was that dominant of a performance by the Jaguars. And honestly, going into the season, I think we thought that they would stand a chance. Now, they started off a little bit slower maybe than we had thought
right,
that they would. But this is exactly what I thought this team would look like before the season started. And I have heard the thoughts and the fact that OK State was not playing at full roster. You know, they had some guys injured, they had some guys
Doesn't
out.
matter. It's part of the game. Doesn't matter. You play with who's out there.
Yeah, you don't lose 33-7 just because a few guys aren't there.
Right. Alabama State was just better, and they were better in all phases. They were better in every aspect of this game. I mean, the three top category. I'm sorry, yeah, South Alabama. My apologies.
You like Alabama State? You like those Hornets down there or something?
I do. South Alabama was they were dominant in every single aspect of this game, man. I mean, first of all, Lacey, 5 receptions, 104 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They only threw as a team for 152. So if I'm Oklahoma State, I'm like, let's cover. Why don't we cover that guy? Why don't we try covering that guy? Because he's the person that they're throwing the ball to. I mean, math is math, and my math is mathing right now. He had more. He had the bulk of the receiving yards. It's like, come on, guys. Like, let's start covering this guy and start putting a hat on him. I mean, he did 151 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns from Webb. All around dominant game, special teams, offense, defense. It just looked great for South Alabama. I don't know what Oklahoma State was doing. I don't know where they were. I know they had, like you said, some injuries. That does not equate to 33-7. South Alabama was better in every phase of football, and it was great to see for the Sun Belt.
Absolutely. Let's see. I don't think I have highlights for the next game that I was going to talk about.
Hey, look at that! Look at that! That's awesome.
Yeah. This game was like if you changed jerseys and told somebody that one was a Power 5 and one wasn't, I know who I'm picking.
Right.
So, unbelievable. Oh, look, we got another comment here. Show us the rings. Do you even have those things? Are those like collecting dust somewhere? You could display them prominently.
They are. They're actually in the next room over in my. Well, it's I guess technically an attic. I'm going to make it a man cave here in a little while, but they're in storage. I don't even bring them out anymore. But I tell you what I'll do next time we go on air. I'll have them out here so you guys can take a look. I hadn't even thought about it. As a matter of fact, that just shows you how modest I am, right? It's not a me thing. It's a we thing.
There you go. You should wear them and then just rack them on the desk as we sit here and go over things.
Right. Get my Jordan on.
Have you seen the App State Open this year with Jerry Moore? Have you seen that clip?
I have not yet.
Oh man, he's got not only the national championship ring, he must have conference championship rings or something. He's got them all over his fingers, and he's just sitting there in a rocking chair. Oh, it's awesome. For those of us that are App State fans, I'm sure other people don't care as much. But the next game we were going to.
That's tough on you.
Yeah, exactly. We did talk about this. We did have the highlight to open the show with Louisiana and UAB. Basically, even though the score was only 20 points, this game wasn't ever close. It never felt like a threat. Statistically, I guess Zeno from UAB ends up kind of sort of better in the statistical category, but we know who the better quarterback was that night. And that would be Zion Chris, or I think I'm pronouncing that right. It looks like Zion, but I believe they're still going to pronounce that Zion. He is taken over. I don't think he's going to let go of the helm of the quarterback position anytime soon. Ben Woolridge was injured, and then Chris comes over, and obvious dual threat, probably more dangerous now with his feet, but as we saw in the clip,
that'll change over time. Yeah. Give him some time. That arm will start working. He'll be fine.
Yeah. So he just went off and started exploding there. As far as that game goes, really, they had 2 guys go over 100 yards. Chris was one of them. Just not much of a game. It's great to see Sunbelt take 2 straight games from UAB, Georgia Southern last week, and then the Cajuns took care of business this week. I'm just going to go ahead and take this off the screen so our beautiful faces can be featured more prominently here, TJ. Let's see what other games do we have here. Well, yet again, Troy and James Madison. We kind of had that clip to start with that game on the NFL Network. That was a beautiful broadcast. I love the fact that some of the games get put on there. 16-14 defensive battle.
Yep.
Troy just couldn't get the running game going. If they could have supplemented a little bit of running game to help open up the passing game a little bit more.
Right. You can't be one-dimensional and win at our level of football. I mean, if they, if all they got to do is prepare for one side of the ball or one aspect of your offense, then you might as well not even put on a uniform. It's not going to be close. And this game was actually closer than what we initially, like I said, dictated that it would be. Not that we thought this, it would be a runaway one way or the other, but we thought there would be more points scored. And Troy just could not, they couldn't take off. So, It is what it is. It happens for sure.
Yeah. Still a great game for people on the outside to be watching, I think. But yeah, they opened that up. And then as far as the games that we're not going to get into as much, because they just weren't that close and we didn't expect them to be. Most of them in a good way. So Texas State hammers Jackson State 77-34. Arkansas State gets in the win column for the first time, taking care of Stony Brook 31-7. Coastal Carolina easily disposes of Duquesne 66-7. Do you know where Duquesne is? A little trivia question there, TJ.
I actually do not. I know where they weren't Saturday, and they weren't on the field.
That's a good point.
I know where they
That's
were
a good
not.
point. Maybe they left all their stuff in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's where Duquesne is located.
I did not know Duquesne was in. My wife might want to know that. She probably already knows that.
Yeah, or as my friend Seth says, DeQuincy, because he says that's how it looks when you see it. So it definitely does not look like Duquesne, I'd say.
No, it does not. I didn't know what it was the first time. It's probably 6 or 7 years ago. The first time I'd seen them, they were playing basketball, and I was like, "What?
Yes.
Who is Duquesne?" I was like, "Duquesne? Duquesne? What am I calling them?" And then I heard Duquesne, and I was like, "That is wrong. That is not how English works, and that is not the way that should be pronounced." I don't like letters, man. I don't like letters that don't make sense. I want them all to make sense. Yeah, silent ones. Get them out there. Get them out of there. I don't like quiet letters. Makes no sense at all.
This is one of those words or names, I guess, more specifically, that you show someone from another country and you're like, this is how you pronounce this. And they go, I don't want to learn. I'm done. That's not going to happen. I have no idea how you got that out of that word. But as far as jumping back into it, there was only one final score to go over. That was Texas A&M taking care of Monroe 47-3. Unfortunately, Monroe's win streak at 2 comes to an end. That not a big surprise. Unfortunately, they were also really outclassed in that one. Texas A&M is just a damn good football team. So unfortunately, that one did not go the Sun Belt's way. But we will jump into a little break here. Go to a Danos ad. As we mentioned before, go check out Danos, promo code below, DAWGGOS. We'll be right back with some looks and previews over this weekend's coming matchups.
Yum, yum, get you some. Very good. Yum, yum, get you some. Yum, yum, get you some. Yum, yum, get you some.
Danos Seasoning, food's favorite flavor.
Yum, yum, get you some.
I'm Joe Burrito, your favorite burrito. Whoa.
Joe, we all know you're the best.
What?
But you can always do better.
What you got?
Try the new Danos Hot Chipotle.
Hey. Ooh, that's spicy. Yum, yum.
Yum, yum, get you some.
Yeah, Joe Burrito wouldn't stand a chance at my house. I can promise you that.
Yeah, that's probably how that wrap felt when I ate it the other day with some
Probably so.
Danos on there. Maybe I should mix the Chipotle with the spicy. I bet that'd be a nice combination.
Yeah, a little spicy Chipotle. Or you can make yourself your own spicy ranch. Get you some Hidden Valley. Take your little Chipotle, make some Chipotle ranch, and put that over. Put that over some fries. Might be onto something.
Yeah, because I actually had some fries the other night. I won't say which restaurant, Burger King, that were not that tasty, and that would have really hit the spot to spice some things up.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Imagine that on a grilled chicken sandwich. A little bit of Cajun, a little bit of Cajun, little ranch on some tomato, lettuce. Might a nice little brioche bun. Could be winning.
We talked about this, me coming over there and doing something with this food thing, and now it's got to come true now.
I got a lot of ideas up here, man. One of my favorite things in the world is sandwiches. Burgers, sandwiches, anything between some bread, I can make it happen.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
We had this conversation earlier today. Actually, when I was in physical therapy earlier today, I don't know whether a hot dog is a sandwich or if it's a sub. But if it's a sub, is a sub
Mm.
also classified as a sandwich? Because
Well,
so what are we doing?
hmm. So I've heard the term before, sub sandwich. You want to go get a
Right,
sub sandwich?
right.
I would classify a sub as a sandwich personally. I think I would.
So then a hot dog has to be a sandwich because if a hot dog is certainly not a burger,
No, it's definitely not a burger. Although
and they can't have a category by themselves.
Joey
So
Chestnut probably thinks that they should have a category by themselves.
he probably does. But I can tell you what I have done to a hot dog bun. I have taken a
Yeah.
hot dog bun, split it open, and put lettuce, tomato, ham, and cheese in it.
Yep.
So
Yep.
is it a sub or is it a sandwich? What are we doing?
Have you ever
This
put
could go either
mayonnaise
way.
on a hot dog?
I've never done that, and I don't think I want. I don't think I want to do that.
That's a real
I don't think
Southern
I want.
thing, man. Come on, you got to join in on the fun.
Listen, I must not be that southern. Mayonnaise on a hot dog. I think I'm cool on that. I
Well,
think
I
I'm.
will tell you this: I don't put it. Doesn't just get mayonnaise. You got other condiments
Well,
there.
sure,
You
you
got the other
ketchup
stuff.
and chili and those kinds of things, but I don't know, man. Mayonnaise, and
But
also too, I like my hot dogs dressed all the way up. So there's slaw, there's chili, there's
yes,
mustard, ketchup,
yes,
onions, relish, the whole deal. So I've got mayo in my slaw anyway. So technically, I guess I have had mayonnaise on a hot dog.
yeah. There you
I'm
go.
just not.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just not going to be a main condiment for me. That won't happen.
Also, what's your mayonnaise of choice? Sorry, we're getting off on a food thing for everyone who doesn't care, but this is great. So, mayonnaise of choice down here in the South, what is it?
Uh, I mean, my family's always used Dukes. We've always used Duke's mayonnaise, but I'm not mad at Hellman's. I know what I won't use, and that's any off-brand mayonnaise. And I'm not using um God, what is that? Blue Plate. I don't like Blue Plate. It's
Is
too
there one
thick.
that's like it's not Miracle Whip? That's wrong, right? Or is that the company?
No, it is
I
Miracle
can't.
Whip, and Miracle Whip is not
Okay,
mayonnaise. That's
no,
it.
that's
Yeah,
definitely not
Miracle
mayonnaise.
Whip is not mayonnaise. No,
Got you.
it's
Okay,
not. And
but
whoever
we
says it
agree.
is, yes.
Yeah, Duke's is the only. Well, I mean, I'm not saying I won't use other mayonnaise, but Duke's is definitely up here. You're right.
Yeah, it's
Up
top
here,
tier.
everybody
Yeah,
else
Duke's is top
down.
tier.
Let's see if we got. We got two comments. Let's see if they're talking about the mayonnaise.
Probably
All
so.
right, we got Meg chiming in. No, hot dogs aren't a sandwich.
Okay, so then, Meg, what is a hot dog then? So what is a is it because it can hot dogs can't have they're not that special. They don't get their own category. So if it's not a hot dog or if it's not a sandwich, then you tell us what it is.
That's a good point. You really can't classify it if it's not a sandwich.
Right. So
Oh,
if it's
look,
not a sandwich, then what
Dukes.
Dukes?
Neil,
Yeah,
we agree
see?
with you, Neil. Great call.
Yeah.
Great call. He also says hot dogs stand
Hot
alone.
dogs stand alone. How? How are we doing? Hot dogs can't stand. They're not. They don't get their own category. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess to teach their own, I suppose.
I mean, the hot dog meat is with other meat, and the hot dog buns are with other buns. So
Right.
yeah, I guess you're right. They can't really have their own category because they're included with all the other stuff when they're
Yeah.
individually separated.
And
So
you can take a hot dog bun and make a mini sub out of it.
true, it can
So
perform as a sandwich when it's
yeah,
just the bun. So
yeah,
yeah, I think I agree with you. It is a sandwich. It's a weird sandwich,
it is a weird sandwich.
but it's a sandwich.
Either
You put all
way,
the other
either
condiments.
way, yeah, either way, it's going down my face hole. So we're gonna we'll I mean, we'll make that happen. So
Yes, we just used the term face hole on the show tonight. Thank you for that, TJ. That is a picture we all wanted in our heads. So jumping
and you
back
got it.
into jumping back into the show and what we're really supposed to be covering, we have a Thursday night matchup, man. It's going to be fun. This
Yeah.
one is a very underrated matchup. Georgia State, Coastal Carolina, ESPN
Mhm.
coverage, 7:30 on
Yep.
Thursday night. We got some quarterbacks in this one. Darren
Yep.
Granger, Grayson McCall. I mean, as far as I know, they're both 100%. Well, I mean, you could speak on this. No one's really 100% anymore,
Right.
but they're
Right.
both considered healthy going into this one, which
Mhm.
is great because that's what we want to
Yep.
see as fans from the outside. Um, Thoughts on this one? I can tell you that looking ahead before we started the show, this all-time series is tied at 3 apiece. So it's
Yeah.
not like anyone's been dominating this series in this one. What do you think might happen here on Thursday night?
I'm thinking Georgia State. I think I'm gonna pull Georgia State's way, and the reason I say that is because I think Granger is, elite elite dual threat level quarterback. I think he's, his ability to, he threw for 400 yards, 400 plus yards last week or this past week. I have no reason to believe that even if he cuts that in half, that's still enough to win against Coastal. So do I think it'll be a runaway? No, I think it's going to be very high scoring. I think both teams are going to be able to kind of get out on each other and take advantage. There'll be a lot of emotion early on, but I think overall, I'm taking Georgia State to win this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean towards the same thing. I think Coastal's still probably trying to figure out exactly how a few things are working here with their new coach, Tim Beck. I took Georgia State to finish like number 2 in the East last year, which looks really silly now, obviously. But this may be the season that they jump up there and surprise a bunch of people.
You were just ahead of you were ahead of your time.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. Yeah. So, I thought Marshall may be that team this year, but I don't know. So far to me, Georgia State looks a little bit better, more well-rounded overall. I mean, they had some of the defensive lapses in that first game, but that Rhode Island team, FCS-wise, pretty damn good. So it's not like they're facing a middling FCS team. This is a top quality FCS team that they played first game of the season. Defense is always a little bit loose, I feel like, in a lot of those matchups. So, maybe they've rectified that and they're moving in the right direction in this one. Let's see here. We'll just jump back out of this until I figure out which matchups are going where next. I guess we'll jump into, well, let's see. We got 2 more comments. Let's see if we've come back from Neil. Po' boy is shrimp and it's a sandwich. I consider a po' boy a sandwich. You don't think a po' boy is a sandwich?
A po' boy is a sub.
A sub
Po' boy is a sub. Okay, sub. Okay, sub sandwich, that works. But then, so then what is a burger? Is it just a burger? Because is a burger a sandwich?
I mean, I guess I would call a burger a sandwich. I mean, I would call a burger a sandwich before I'd ever call a hot dog a sandwich off the top of my head.
Oh, absolutely.
So I guess he is a sandwich.
I assume he being a hot dog.
I'm not sure who he is.
Yeah,
he is him.
You got to be more specific, Neil. You got to get our pronouns correct.
I mean, we're talking about all the food. Now I want a po' boy. I had one of the best po' boys I've ever had when I was down there in Raging Cajun country, by the way. So
I'm sure you did. Yeah.
You and I got to get down there to take in a game, whether it's an App State one or not. Doesn't matter. The food's
just for the food alone.
The journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
So our boys at App State, 2-1, travel up to Wyoming, who's also 2-1, and just came off a hell of a close game with the University of Texas.
Yeah.
I don't know how much confidence I had. If you remember correctly, I actually called App to lose this one before the season started.
Yeah, you did.
I think you went the other direction. But maybe we both flopped. I'm not really sure. What do you think going into this one here? It's only supposed to be a 3-point Wyoming favorite right now at this current moment.
Yeah, and I think Wyoming has the advantage being at home. I never want to pick against App State, but I can tell you this: if we're not tackling well, that's going to be a problem for us. So we got to straighten that out. We got to make some. We got to make some tackles. We can't keep giving up the big plays as much as we're doing. There's no reason why ECU should have been as close of a game as it was. I understand that ECU is coming up and they're starting to match people on talent and that kind of thing, and that's great. But talent-wise, they're not on our level yet, and we made them feel like they were because of the big plays that we were giving up. And Carolina, same way. Now Carolina's a little bit more evenly matched from a talent perspective, but still, you're breaking off 40 and 50-yard runs. That's not that we can't have that. So, I'm picking App because I'm thinking with my heart and not my head. Wyoming does have the advantage. They are going to be home. They do have a hell of a running game, which scares me. They got a great defense, big, giant offensive and defensive linemen. They are absolutely huge, which is what
Yeah.
made that Texas game as close as it was because, this playing in our league, the difference is in those Power Five and Group of Five teams is the trenches, right? Colorado's
Yes.
finding that out the hard way. They'll find that out the hard way again. I think next week against Oregon. It's up front is where the skill wise talent you can match that, but if you can get to the quarterback and you can make life tough for them, and I think that's what Wyoming was able to do. So anyway, I went the long way of saying I'm picking App, but I'm not happy about it.
Well, you can be happy about it, but just not confident,
No,
maybe.
not
Or
confident. Maybe that's the word.
not fully confident anyway. How about that?
Sure.
Let's just say that. Yeah, I
If
was
I'm being
surprised by
realistic.
how that game went. Yeah, I was very surprised about that one. I'm going to flip it for where I went because simply Joey Aguilar. I mean, he had his little bit of a downer game, I would call it, against ECU, which wasn't even that bad, right? I mean, a few simple mistakes that he knows immediately when he did it. But I hear
Right.
Sean Clark talk about how the kid just isn't phased, comes to the sideline very mature, knows it's just move on to the next series, the next play. You got to forget about that. It's over. He didn't beat himself up about it. And you could tell he didn't because he came back out and just performed the rest of the game. So I think he's kind of the X factor there. He can use his feet. He's got the accurate arm. I think it's hopefully something that will be on App's side as they go up there. But like you said, it ain't going to be easy.
No,
They're going to have to do
no.
some pushing around and use the speed to their advantage against some of these bigger, stronger guys because that's how they grow them up there in Wyoming.
Just insane, yeah. And like I said, I think if we can win the line of scrimmage, we can win this game. But I think the line of scrimmage is what kept Wyoming in this game against Texas. And obviously, again, there's the factor going into it. If you're Texas, we're better. We're going to dominate this team. You take a week off kind of deal. So you don't come into it giving them your best shot. So and I'm educated enough about football to understand that Texas did not put on their best game. I get that. However, there's only a certain amount of time into that game where you start to realize, all right, now these guys ain't come to play. Like it's time to turn it on. And when you can't turn that switch as quickly as you thought you could, you're not, that speaks to your opponent being able to sort of dictate how the game is flowing. And if you're giving them that level of confidence, against a team who's got nothing to lose in this game, I think it says a lot about who Wyoming is. So, like I said, winning the line of scrimmage is going to be key for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to show Neil's comment here. Did I get it?
We'll see what we really have on Saturday.
Yep. I showed it and then I clicked it again. My computer's running slower, I guess, with all the highlights. But yeah, I agree. I think we really are going to see what we have Saturday. I think, obviously, besides Carolina, this will be the toughest test App has faced all season, which obviously it's only 4 games in, so it is what it is there. But jumping into the next one, a little bit of a rematch from last year. We got Troy going up against Western Kentucky for the second straight season. What do you see maybe playing out in this one? We know Troy's offense really didn't get a lot going on the ground last game. You see that change in this one against the Hilltoppers of Western Kentucky.
I think they better. I think they better keep up with Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky is a high-flying offense, man. I mean, they can sling it all over the lot. And if they are not careful, this could be a runaway quickly. Western Carolina is not going to waste any time putting points up. They're not going to sit back and run the clock and chew things up. They're going to spread you out like they're doing here. They're going to let their quarterback drop back and rip it. And I think that obviously he didn't on that play. But I think, if they're not able to really keep up with Western Kentucky's offense, it's going to be a long night or day.
You can't chase points against Western Kentucky. We saw that firsthand. Let me get no ads, no free ads.
No free ads, 50.
You can't be doing that against a team that's that high-powered air raid offense. You got another Helton that Troy's going to see. Wait,